Hi, good morning and welcome to the 4th day of National Careers Week 2021 as part of the Meet Your Future Work Shadowing campaign. Meet Your Future was launched in April 2019 as a way to enable young people to have conversations with employers and also experience different workplaces. Over the past 12 months, we've been speaking with young people from all 10 boroughs across Greater Manchester to find out how you feel you could be best supported through the pandemic, your return to school, and then on into your future. We've been listening and we've learned a lot. We have developed a suite of information and resources and services that are in place to help you. This can be found on gmax.co.uk, and I'll pop a link in the Q&A box for you. There you can also speak to a member of the Bridge GM team. We have also adapted the Meet Your Future Work Shadowing campaign as a way to better fit what you've been telling us. And throughout this week, you've been able to join sessions and chat with Greater Manchester and national employers. You've also been able to hear from noticeable people from across Greater Manchester about their journey and how they ended up where they are today. Hopefully this week has informed you, will continue to inform you, inspired you and showed you why you should be hopeful and optimistic about your future in Greater Manchester. The Q&A box is open throughout this session, so if you do have any questions then please pop them in there, and I'd like to welcome our speaker for this session, Heather Middlehurst from Stateside Foods.
Hi. So today I'm going to be talking to you about personal well-being in the workplace. It's a huge issue and it's becoming more and more evident that we really need to look after ourselves and each other. We have ways that we do this at Stateside Foods, but first I'm going to tell you a little bit about who Stateside Foods are and what my role is there. So we are part of, if we skip to the next slide please, we are part of what's called the Freiburger Group. Now this is a German company. They are the #1 private label pizza business in the world. We manufacture just pizza, nothing else. I'm a Wiganer, so you'd think I would have gone doing pies somewhere, but no, pizzas is my thing. And as a group, we produce 5.4 million pizzas every day, so it's a lot of pizzas. The group sales are over €1 billion every year. And we have altogether 11 factories. We are just the one in the UK and we're based in Bolton. So Stateside Foods itself then, which is the Bolton factory, on the next slide, we have around 1,100 employees. We have 45 different nationalities, so we're all very different. There's lots of us. And together we make, at our Bolton site, 2.5 million pizzas each week. Now we have two sites, well it's the same site, but we call them two sites. They're either side of the road, which runs through the middle of the industrial estate, and we call them Wingates and Firebird. One we do sort of, it's very automated, it's the basic sort of ranges, and then the premium ranges is in the Wingate site where it's more, there's a lot more people, a lot more sort of hand topped, it's all your sort of artisan, posh what I call ingredients. So yeah, they're the two sort of sites, but we are all in the same place in Bolton on Wingate's industrial estate. So some more interesting facts. We are, as a group, the biggest purchaser of mozzarella in Europe. We buy a lot of cheese. At Stateside in a year, we make 129 million pizzas. We use 6,924 tonnes of cheese, 17,173 tonnes of flour, over 4,000 tonnes of tomato sauce. We have 11,253 lorries going out with our chilled products in, so full of pizzas, all going out to the supermarkets, the likes of Asda, Co-op, Morrison's, Aldi. And in our warehouse, we've got 9,461 pallet spaces for anyone that's interested. There's some little facts about our business. Now, people just assume that we all stand there putting pepperoni on a pizza, and we are essentially an engineering business, but that doesn't mean that we only have engineers. So as you can see, there are 26 different departments there. They include IT, finance, new product development, quality, sales, So there's loads of career opportunities, but people might not consider a food manufacturer when they're looking for those roles, which is a personal frustration of mine, which is why I do this. I talk to all you guys in schools and hope that I can open your eyes and let you see just how much goes on in there, because there is so much. The food and drink sector on its own is bigger than both the automotive and the aerospace combined. So all planes and cars manufacture, food and drink is bigger than that. So who am I and what do I do there?
Sorry about this, we're just having a few technical problems. We'll be back with you in one minute. Hi everyone, sorry about this. We're just trying to get Heather to rejoin. We won't be a couple of minutes. Hi everyone, thanks for bearing with us. We're just trying to get Heather to rejoin the session. We won't be a couple of minutes.
We're back. Shall I carry on from where we were?
Yes, please.
Right, so I do apologise for that. The wonders of the internet. I wish I worked in IT, but I don't. So back to about me and what I do. I left school a long time ago with my 9 GCSEs, and then I went to Winstanley College and I did maths, computing, art, design, and biology. Not for any reason that I wanted to go into any particular career. I just liked those subjects. And then at that point, I wanted to go straight into work. But I will be honest, that was because I had a boyfriend. I didn't want to go to university and leave him. And I will be honest, I regretted that for the next 20 years. But it wasn't the end of the world. But a little bit of real life advice would be always look at the bigger picture, focus on the long term. And if your relationships are good, they'll last. And if they don't, then they wouldn't have done anyway, I think is what I would say to you now, having learned what I learned. But I would also say, always say yes to any opportunity, because you never regret giving something a go. And if you work hard at it, the chances are you will succeed. Anyway, as I say, it wasn't the end of the world. I then went into, as an office junior, an accountant's called Baker Tilly. It was nothing to do with baking. It was just the name of the accountants in Manchester. And then following on from there, I worked at Yorkshire Bank for several years, either side of having my little boy. So we are now where we are now on the next slide. So I've been at Stateside now for 14 years. I started there in the accounts department because that was all I'd known. I did eventually get my degree. So I qualified as a chartered certified accountant at the age of 41. So it took me a long time to get there, but I did get there. So I will say to those of you that take a different path in life, don't worry, it's never the end, it's never too late, and you're always learning. So just keep going, keep your head down, you will get there. Because of this, I feel like Stateside gave me a second chance at things I'd missed out on, and because of that, I now do have a real desire to give something back to other people. When I worked in accounts, my boss sort of realised through me volunteering for different things, it was things like charity events or helping out with the apprentices. She realised that I really preferred working with people than sitting behind a desk and looking at spreadsheets and paying the cheese bills, which is what I was doing. So from that, it just sort of naturally developed, and I became the manager of corporate social responsibility and then learning and development. Now, if you're wondering what corporate social responsibility is, we'll look on the next slide. It's basically, these 4 pillars are everything that falls under CSR. Now, the parts that I have most involvement in are the people side and the community side. And if you look under people, there is wellbeing. So you'll understand why I'm going to talk to you about wellbeing. But CSR in general, it's about being a responsible and ethical employer and doing good, not because it's a legal requirement. Like we don't have laws saying we have to do these things, but we believe as a business that these things are the right things to do. So coming into schools, if you look under communities, educational support, we can't come into school at the moment, which is really frustrating for us because this is one of the things I love doing. But instead we can do things like this. We do community projects, you know, we get involved with charities. We're sort of in developing people both in work and outside. We do all kinds of things. So I will show you, because all of these things sort of lead into well-being. So being able to play a part in those things is what makes you sort of feel like you've got something to offer. And when you feel like you've got a purpose and you're worthwhile and you are contributing something to society, that does so much for your well-being and your sort of like outlook on life and how you feel about yourself. So they do all tie in, and you will see how that works. But I have been referred to as the conscience of the company because I spend a lot of my time. My job is to sort of see what other businesses are doing, and if it's something that I think is good, then we'll do it. And I'll always want to go a little bit bigger with whatever it is. But I'm constantly looking for, you know, that business is doing this for its people, I think we should do the same. So it's about doing the right thing. So we move on to the well-being. So this is personal well-being. You can see there's 5 areas here, and they all contribute to your well-being. And when you think about it, who doesn't feel good when they connect with people? Who doesn't feel good when they've been exercising? Because you do. You don't necessarily want to do the exercise in the first place. But once you've got up and you've gone and done something, you always feel better and like it's been worthwhile. And it's always like, oh, I really didn't want to go to the gym, but I did. I forced myself to go, and I'm so glad I did. And so many times you hear people say that, and it's so true. Who doesn't feel good when they take notice of what's going on around them and look after their environment and the world that we live in? You feel good when you learn something new, because it gives you that sense of achievement and you get more confidence, and you know you've got something else that you can contribute to society because you've learned a new skill. And when you give things to other people, it does so much for your well-being, because you're actually, all of these things, you have an actual physical chemical reaction goes on in your body where you're releasing endorphins and they make you feel happy. So all of these things do contribute to your well-being when you get a sense of purpose and self-worth. And so at work at Stateside, we give people lots of opportunities to get involved in all of these kinds of things. So the first one we'll look at is connecting with other people. So we've got inclusion and diversity there. And as it says, remember always that you not only have the right to be an individual, but you have an obligation to be one. So it's about recognising our individual differences and appreciating them in ourselves and other people. Celebrate them, be proud of who you are, because we want a workplace where people can bring the whole selves to work and not feel that they've got to hide any part of the personalities. We want everyone to feel like they've got the same opportunities to develop and grow. So just be grateful that we're all different. It's brilliant. If we were all the same, it'd be really boring and we wouldn't learn anything. So love the fact that the person next to you is nothing like you. It's great. It's what we want. Teamwork. We're all working in smaller teams at Stateside, but contributing to the whole team. In our smaller teams, that's how we succeed, by working together. And if you think about it, your school's probably working the same way. Your school could win an award for something based on the efforts of sort of each year group or a certain set of classes, and you are all individual teams sort of working for the good of the school. And if you look at it like that, teamwork is so important. And we always say no man is an island, and we're not, and it is so true. We all need help sometimes. We need a team behind us, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually, I think, a sign of strength if you can hold your hand up and say, do you know what, I need some help with this, I need a bit of support. And it's good to have teams around you to offer that support. And it's a great feeling when you know you've given something to a team and you've played your part. So it does work both ways, and it all impacts on your well-being. Mental health support. This is one of the better things, if there are any, of the pandemic, I will say, is that people are now more open to talking about mental health. We're removing the stigma and we're increasing awareness. And we've at work introduced 17 mental health first aiders in the workplace, and all the managers have been given awareness training so that they can recognise common mental health issues and then offer the right support. And we also offer resilience training. Now, resilience training, what's being resilient? If we look on the next slide, what does it actually mean? Staying positive and being able to bounce back quickly when things go wrong. So how do we do it? It's not easy at the moment. It's very difficult. We're all struggling, but we have to learn to accept things that we've got no control over. My parents were prime examples of not being very good at this. They couldn't accept the lockdown, and they kept trying to sort of change it in their own heads and say, well, I can't stay in for that long. And they kept looking for ways around it all the time, and they just led to frustration, because obviously there was nothing any of us could do about this. We have just had to accept it. And I think the quicker people came to terms with that, the better they cope with it. And I think the people that sort of couldn't come to terms with it have really struggled. And I had to say to my mum and dad, look, you need to focus on what you can do and not what you can't. Lots of people took the opportunity to learn new things or to volunteer for things. I actually learned Spanish. I learned how to crochet. And because I couldn't come into schools and do things with you guys, I actually ran the mental health training at work. So see your problems as challenges rather than setbacks. And remember, if you've never failed, it's probably because you've not even tried. It's good to fail. That is how we learn. But I will say, on being resilient, if you do feel overwhelmed, talk to someone about anything. Know that you're not on your own, and that there is help available. You can talk to any of these, sort of a friend, a family member, a teacher. There's helplines out there available for young people. But don't be hard on yourself either. 1 in 4 people, and these were the statistics before the pandemic, 1 in 4 people will suffer from a mental health issue at some point in their lifetime. No one's immune, and it can happen to anyone at any time. I myself suffered with anxiety chronically for about 12 years. I've been okay for 10 years, but it does happen, and it's entirely down to circumstance. But I will say, we're all finding this difficult. Don't think you're on your own. This is the hardest thing that many of us, including myself, have ever been through, and it's tough. So I will just say, stay strong and keep talking to one another. That's all we keep saying at work. Stay strong and keep talking to one another. So what else can we do to look after
ourselves? Heather,
yeah.
I have just popped in the chat a link to the Staying Well Connected on gmax.co.uk, where you'll find a list of information, resources and services about personal well-being and mental health. So if you are struggling or you want further information, then that link's there. Back to you.
Perfect, thank you. So what else can we do then? So being active. Said about exercise before, it really does make you feel better. For us oldies, it slows dementia, which is great news. Obviously you don't need to worry about that yet, but it improves your sleep, it reduces stress, it improves your mood, lifts your self-esteem, and it lowers your risk of depression. So exercise really is one of the best things you can do for your well-being. Getting outside, if we look at the next slide, just outside in the fresh air and seeing nature, just looking at things like trees makes you release endorphins. If you see something that is just generally pretty to look at, you release endorphins and it makes you happy. But it reduces anxiety, you're more focused because of the fresh air, it improves your creativity because you're less stressed, changes your mood, allows you to disconnect. Now here, I've got to say, I feel for you all, and I am so grateful that when I was your age, I didn't have social media, because I just think it's terrible. It can have its benefits, obviously, but going outside, it gives you the time to put your phone away, get away from it all, stop worrying about the latest TikTok dance. Have you nailed your moves? Have you got the latest trainers that such and such a body's got on Instagram? Are your eyebrows on fleek? It really doesn't matter. So just switch it off, get out, get some fresh air, see nature. I think we've all had time in this lockdown to reflect on what's really important, and I think we can all see that none of those things, the material things, matter. And I think what actually matters most is being able to make memories with the people that we care about the most, and we're all missing friends and family, and that's what's hitting us the hardest. You've got to think, will in 5 years you remember how your eyebrows were, or will you remember the day you finally got to go to the beach and have that barbecue with your friends? I know what I'd remember. So being active, the things that we do at Stateside, we offer everyone free gym membership, which is brilliant. We have walking groups, so people get out on the lunchtime, they have the little challenges with the watches. We have team building, outdoor events. You can see their apprentices are jumping into the sea. We don't force them to do that, but it is good fun. And we sponsor lots of local sports clubs that our people sort of are part of. So we do encourage people to be active. So moving on, so taking notice then, looking at the environment, I'm just going to check the time because I know we lost a bit of time and I'm feeling a little bit under pressure. So at Stateside, we don't send any waste to landfill. We are a zero to landfill site and have been since about 2014, I think. We're something called ISO 50001 accredited, which means we are doing everything we absolutely can to be the most efficient and saving the most energy that we can possibly do. And if anyone saw the Co-op advert last year where they removed the plastic baseboards from the pizzas and replaced it with cardboard, all of our customers have now done that, which is brilliant. So what can you do? Have a think about what you can do for the environment. I went litter picking last week, and I have to say the following day I felt absolutely soul destroyed because someone had gone back to the same place where I'd spent 2 hours tidying. And basically, it looked like they'd emptied the car of fast food wrappers, and I was devastated, I'll be honest. So don't be that person that messes up your own community. I never understood why people want to make a mess in their own area, but it can't give you the same sense of pride as doing your bit. So if we all do our little bit, we can make a massive difference. Learning. You never stop learning, as I said before, right? It took me to 41 to get my degree, and to be honest, I've now signed up to do my master's in a HR qualification. So don't ever think you've finished, you haven't, but it gives you so much mentally that you feel like you're achieving something. We have managers who do management training, they're on the top picture. The middle picture is actually 2 of our apprentices who did public speaking training, and in the end they stood up at the awards ceremony and presented the award to the apprentice in the middle, who obviously had been learning, but they stood up and spoke to 400 people about the importance of apprenticeships to them, and it was such a proud moment that I think it did us all some good mentally, but that improves their well-being, that sort of real sense of achievement and pride, because it's not an easy thing to do. And all of our apprentices get a mentor, and they all get to sit down with the directors. That's actually our managing director there in the bottom picture with some of our apprentices. And they do reverse mentoring. So the mentors learn as much as the mentees. I'm a mentor, and I've learned quite a lot from my apprentices. Digital skills even that I don't have. Obviously, I wouldn't lose my internet connection if I do as much as they do. But yeah, it works both ways. And again, learning is great for your self-esteem, and you do feel good about yourself. So if your school has something like the reading schemes where you can help younger students, any of those kind of things, buddy schemes, I don't know what you have, but get involved, because giving something to somebody else and helping them learn really does improve your well-being. So this leads nicely to giving. So we do the Skills for Success school programme, which this is kind of part of, but not normally on our list. We're normally in schools doing interview skills or CV writing skills. We've had to change everything a little bit this year. But it's about giving back. We think it's really important to give something to you guys to give you a really good chance and to show you what's available so that you can see just how far you can go, because you really can go far and there's so many opportunities, and we want you to know what they are. We go out on mass litter picking, as you can see all the bags, and on the back of those bags we give £10 for every bag to Bolton Hospice and the Christie, so that's a win-win. We do things like tree planting, we do charity events, we sponsor a lot of the Bolton Hospice events, but it's all about giving back. We don't have to do these things, but it's just nice to do. So if you've been inspired by Sir Captain Tom, have a think what you can do. Get out and do your bit, because again, it's so good for your well-being. Now, lastly, we're just going to look at what I call the common sense ways to well-being. Now, who doesn't? Who eats too much sugar? If we look on the next slide, have you got a good balanced diet and are you drinking enough water? These things are really important, but just common sense that we don't do. Eating too much sugar, you might get an absolute burst of energy, but it actually makes you more tired. And when you're tired, you feel down, your mood drops. You're not motivated to do any of these things that I'm suggesting we do. You kind of just want to sit there. You're feeling really sluggish. Are you getting enough sleep, or are you sat on your phone till way gone bedtime, looking at blue lights that are just activating your brain and keeping you awake for even longer. And can I just say, if you're looking at your phone in the dark because you're not supposed to be on it, it's really bad for your eyes. So you might want to stop that. But the fact is, if you're not doing these things and you're not getting enough sleep and you get up the next day and you're tired and you're grumpy and you lack motivation and you lack energy and your mood is very low, you can change that. So if you're not changing it, you're actually choosing to feel like that. So remember that if you can do something about those simple things, it takes a bit of willpower to turn your phone off, but I promise you, you're not missing anything in the night. Turn it off, get a good night's sleep, and you'll be able to do so much more the following day. It really does work like that. I've done it myself. So yeah, if we all need a bit of encouragement, we all need a bit of a thank you, a pat on the back, someone to acknowledge what we've done. And if you can lift someone up, then you should. We have a rule at work where if you like what you see, say it, tell them. If you appreciate something someone's done, thank them. If you think they've done a good job, tell them they've done a good job. Because just lifting someone up just from one simple thank you or well done costs you nothing and makes you both feel better. And that's good for everybody's well-being. So I will leave you with that. I think we are now going to go to questions. Back to Jane, I think.
Thanks, Helen. And really important. So we have had questions through, and I will just for you now. Heather, I don't know if you want to mute your mic, just because we're getting a lot of feedback while I ask. So just going through some of them now. So the first one came in from Jack, which is a bit of a light-hearted question, which is just what's your favourite pizza?
I have to say, and this is controversial, ham and pineapple. I know a lot of people don't agree with pineapple on a pizza, but I really like it.
That is the truth.
I thought the question was going to be, do I get free pizza? Because that's usually the first question everyone asks me. But unfortunately, I can't eat gluten, so I can't actually eat the pizza. So it's really annoying because I do love pizza.
People who are watching, can you just pop in whether you are pro or anti ham and pineapple, because I think that is a really, really important debate that we need to settle during this call. I'm not with you. We're in separate camps, Heather. But subsequent question: do you get free pizzas? That is a good subsequent question. We do. I mean, you have to be in the right place at the right time, but we can have up to 4 a day. That's amazing. Where can I apply?
People do tend to put on what we call the stateside stone very quickly when they start work.
Oh. Okay, real questions. Why did you want to do a degree when you was younger over an apprenticeship?
Right, good question. This is really good, because we didn't have apprenticeships like we have now. If I had my time now, I would absolutely 100% do an apprenticeship, because they are getting paid, they get the degree paid for, they're doing the job. Our apprentices, I know it doesn't happen with every company, but our apprentices do get a job at the end of it, because, you know, we look at it like we're investing in this person for 4 years. Degrees don't come cheap, so it is a big investment. And we want that person to stay with us and have a job with us at the end. So we basically mould this person into what we want them to be. So if I had my chance again, I would absolutely do an apprenticeship, because you're getting the job experience. It's all too easy to come out of university and the employer will say, well, you've no experience. With an apprenticeship, you've got 4 years. Our guys have management experience. They're all actually by their 4th year, a lot of them actually are managing teams of people. So they've got loads of experience. They've got the degree, They've also got a CMI qualification on the side of this, which is a separate qualification to the degree. And while all the friends have been paying back student loans, they've been earning they start on £15,000 and it works up each year till they're on the sort of rate of whichever job they choose to go into at the end. So I think the degree apprenticeships are absolutely amazing. And if they were available when I was your age, I would absolutely have done one. I would have snatched the hand off straight away.
Thanks for that, Heather. And if you want information about apprenticeships or careers across Greater Manchester, I have just linked GMAX, so you can head over to GMAX and have a look at that. Have you found it hard working during the pandemic?
I haven't found it hard, I'll be honest. I've felt incredibly fortunate in that I've still been able to work. I can have the choice because we are a food manufacturer. We are classed as essential key workers, which is really nice to feel essential for once. But it's been busy, and we've had to change a lot of the ways we do things like this. My job's really entirely changed what my focus has been on, and a lot of my focus has been on mental health, I'll be honest. But it's not really been difficult. It has for other people at our company. Some people are on sort of the crisis team and they're constantly firefighting with all the changes that come through every day. But my job particularly, I haven't found it difficult, and I feel incredibly lucky that I've still had a job to go to and I haven't had to worry about sort of job security, because, as I say, food manufacturers were allowed to continue trading. So we're so lucky, we really are.
And another one, which is, do you pay for your own qualifications?
No, we don't. Everything is funded. So if I hadn't have gone to Stateside, I would probably still be sitting here now without my degree, without my accountancy qualification, because I couldn't have afforded to do it myself, I'll be honest. It was only that they recognised that I was capable, and they said, it was them that suggested it, to be honest. I was very much pushed, kicking and screaming at the start, because I was like, this is a lot of work to do at my age. But no, it's entirely paid for. All training is paid for by the company, so it's brilliant. It is a great place to work, I'll be honest.
It's a big perk. And then someone else has asked, how old do you have to be to apply for one of your apprenticeships? And also, where can they apply?
Okay, so our engineering apprenticeships start at school leaver age, so before college, because for the first year of that sort of craft engineering apprenticeship, they're at college at Waterside in St Helens, so they can either go through the Waterside website, or you can go through the Stateside Foods website. You will also find it on the National Apprenticeships website, I believe. So they start at sort of 16 straight out of school, and the first year is spent at college, and then in the second year they come to us, and it's split then between college and work. The degree apprenticeships are after college, so they're sort of 18 upwards, any age. There's no age limit on those degree apprenticeships, which is brilliant. So literally anyone above the age of 18 can apply for those, and that's just so long as you've got the UCAS points to do the degree course, which I think is something like 102 points from memory. But that's with Manchester Met. So yeah, no, it's either 16 or 18, depending on which route you want to do. But generally, the degree apprenticeship is a business apprenticeship, and then the craft engineering is just engineering.
And then back to the most important subject of the session is Jack, who submitted the first question. They have done a quick poll of their room, and they had 5 anti pineapple on pizza and 4 pro pineapple on pizza. So the anti-pineapple one in that room. There are no more questions at the minute. Heather and I will stick around for a couple of minutes, just in case anyone does have any questions. But for those that have asked and have found out the information that that they wanted to find out. I hope you've enjoyed the session. I think it's been really informative, and thanks to Heather for supporting the Meet Your Future campaign and delivering today. It's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. We do have other sessions happening for the remainder of this week. So this afternoon we've got Auto Trader joining us for a live Q&A explaining about how they use maths in their organisation. And then we've also got Energy, which will be talking about careers in the energy and technical services industry. And then tomorrow we have a full lineup, including Councillor Sean Fielding, who is the leader of Oldham Council, specialist manufacturing careers at Steepan, and then a couple of sessions hosted by GM Hire, looking into progressing into FE and HE. So that's it. Thanks for joining. Have a good day.